Happy Boxing Day, my friends. I hope those of you who celebrated Christmas had a beautiful Christmas. Those of you who didn't celebrate Christmas had a beautiful day. I mean, just, it is what it is. And that is, my friends, the tone of today's pondering. I'm pondering political correctness. Now, I'll tell you, political correctness actually came out of about the 80s, was when people started saying, oh, gee, you can't say that. You shouldn't say that. And I said then, this is a pendulum that's going to swing way too far. This is a change in society that is going to explode and become too important. Too important to be taken seriously. Actually, that's not even a good word, just too much. Too much. Today, political correctness has gone too far. I agree that, back in the 80s, we were an evolving society. We had come out of a very, very strongly male-driven society that was starting to, in a very major way, bring women into the workforce and men into the home, and the lines of separation between the sexes definitely got thinner. So in the 80s, we were having an awful lot of people who just weren't treated well. And it was maybe a required thing. But like anything, the pendulum's too far here, it starts to move, and we start to get a good homeostasis, a good status quo. But no, the pendulum's got to keep swinging until it goes too far and it comes back again. We are on the too far stage. We are on the too far stage. In Canada, I forget which bill, but I think it was C-31, but I should have researched it, I'm sorry folks. But in Canada, you can be arrested and charged for not using a person's preferred pronouns. So, for instance, a guy who has gender dysphoria and thinks he's a girl wants to be called a she, but you see a guy with a beard in front of you and you call him a he. If he wants, he can press charges. Now, they say that this is for out and out abuse of other people. This is not for just the regular back and forth. But once a law is a law, it's a law. And it can be misused and abused. And I felt this way in the 80s. I feel this way now. The government is not there to dictate how we should act. Societal things should be left to society. Just like I'm also a free marketer. You don't have regulations on the market. Those who perform poorly fall out of the market. Those who perform well continue. Those who take too large a profit don't last, that kind of thing. The market takes care of itself. Society will take care of itself. People who are outwardly rude, abusive, and just downright nasty are usually shunned and shamed and put aside, can't get a job, that kind of stuff. I'm okay with that. That's society. Having laws that come in and start to create an arbitrary line over which you should not cross. The problem is that line is very fuzzy, if existing at all. So then, as people interpret differently that law, it soon becomes that people with very thin skins, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
People with very thin skin.
Nobody cares, Sean.
That my notification's going to go, but I'm going to have to let it go because I'm talking to you guys. thin-skinned people will then use those laws to try to enforce a standard that's too strong. And then it grows and it grows. And we get to the point nowadays where we honestly have people losing their jobs for having slapped an ass in the 80s. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, they were a rude, crude person back then. But there's no law against that, and they're being persecuted now 40 years later. That's when society has gone too far. I'm not saying that they should have been allowed to do that in the 80s. I've always tried to be a gentleman. But also, most of the people that are doing the complaining nowadays were either just babies in the 80s or not even around. They're millennials. And they're complaining about people who are no longer perpetrating that societal norm. It was somewhat a societal norm in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Look at TV shows like Mad Men. I'm not supporting it. I'm saying it was a different time, a time they don't understand, and a time from which we should not have to continually defend ourselves as to why we acted that way, because it's impossible to. It's just like my chronic pain. It's impossible for someone who has never felt pain continuously for over a year, and in my case, in 20, 30 years, to understand that feeling of chronic pain. You can't understand the living of society back then. Women accept it, should they have? No, but they weren't awoke yet. You know, that kind of thing. So us awakening now, I love the new society that may come out of this, a very respectful and kind society, but let's not put it into laws, because those who are not respectful and kind will still be shunned and treated poorly. Think about that, my friends, and peace and cheers, love and harmony. Here comes the new year. Let's work hard on it. It was a wonderful Christmas here in the Birch House, and today we're sitting in minus 30 weather with wind chill, sometimes up around minus 40. And so we're not going outside today. We only opened the door to let the dog out, and she doesn't like it. Peace and cheers, friends. Love and harmony.